Welcome to May's meditation on healing your grounding cord. I picked this topic for tonight because I'm seeing where so many of my clients and students are not quite grounding into the center of the planet, or their grounding cord has become complacent. So it's not really working as well for you as it could, or for them as it could. And so, if you're going to spend the time to ground and release, you really want to make sure that it's working for you. Tonight, I'm going to go over how to create a beefier grounding cord, how to make sure it's firmly attached at your body and the center of the planet, and how to tell if it's effectively working for you. So then you'll get to also see energetically what energy is affecting your grounding cord, what's collected up in this space, or maybe who is grounding through you, and you'll be able to clear that out. So with all the crazy energy on the planet now, with the war and Roe v. Wade, I see a lot of people pretty lit up. So it's going to be a great healing tonight to make sure that you are really grounded. So we're going to first get grounded using the tool of a grounding cord, how I always start my meditations. And then I'm going to walk you through the steps for creating the image of your reading screen and the image of your grounding cord. If you're new, don't worry, I'll walk you through all the steps. So please close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths and give yourself this next half hour to give back to yourself. It's really better if you're sitting straight up, your back is straight, feet flat on the floor with your feet about hips width apart. If your legs are crossed, it doesn't always allow you to release the energy that you need to release. So another thing is make sure that your chin is level, because sometimes if you let your head tip forward or it is tips back, it knocks you out of your meditation, or you may end up becoming kind of sleepy. All right, so to begin, if you can imagine pulling your energy in around you. Your energy spreads out during the day. That means your aura. So if you can kind of scoop it back in around you, ideally it should be about 2 feet around you on all sides. So scoop your energy back in. And if you have a current grounding cord, go ahead and release it. And when I say release it, what I mean is if you have a grounding cord attached, I want you to see yourself unhooking it or letting it retract into the center of the planet where it gets reabsorbed. You can imagine pulling like a little ripcord that is just like an automatic release, so that grounding cord goes back into the center of the planet, or just allow it to collapse back into the planet where it gets reabsorbed. And again, I'm going back through the basics because I want to make sure that you know all the steps from the beginning to the end. So to create a new grounding cord, focus on the base of your spine. That's where your root chakra or first chakra is located. That's your survival chakra, fight or flight, feed, shelter yourself. And that's where a lot of people jump into your space because they don't know how to ground for themselves. So they'll jump into your root chakra. So when you create a grounding cord from this space, it also helps to allow you to release energies that have collected up in your root chakra down through that grounding cord into the center of the planet. So from the base of your spine, imagine that you can create a line of energy that will connect your body to the center of the planet. That line of energy is called a grounding cord. I like to use the image of something open and hollow, like a hollow tube. So energy can be pulled with the help of gravity out of your body, out of your aura, gets pulled down that image into the center of the planet. So at the base of your spine, imagine that you can create the energy of, say, a hollow tube that plugs into your grounding cord. You can imagine it is taped on, Velcroed, you could glue it. For me, because I've done it for so long, I just see it kind of like hooking in. But if that's difficult for you, then create the imagery that keeps it in place. And then without overthinking it, imagine that hollow tube, which could be made of anything. Mine is always made of rocks or like earth, because I like my grounding cord to be really thick and made out of something very solid, because I work with so many people and I release so much energy during the day. So I really want a beefy grounding cord. You can make it look however you want it to look. But if you're going to make it out of feathers or say silk, I mean, that's not a very beefy material, so it may not work quite as well for you, but if it does, that's great. You're entitled to make it however you like. But imagine that that grounding cord can go down through the seat below you, down through the floor, down through the layers of the planet, where it plugs into the crystalline core. And once that grounding cord plugs into the crystalline core, you could see it plugging in like a plug into a socket. You could imagine tying it to a rock down in the center of the planet. You could imagine nailing it, or just imagine that with that, however you see it hit the center of the planet, that it can stay attached in place. And one way to make sure that your grounding cord is tight is if you could pluck it like a guitar string. Is it tight? Because you want the grounding cord tight. You don't want it to be loose. And the moment you create that grounding cord, again, gravity, I kind of see it like a vacuum. Gravity starts, with some suction, pulling the energy, already making kind of a tug at my body. So all I have to do is think about the energies I want to release. And with ease and without effort, that energy that I'm acknowledging, which we'll go through a few in a moment, can release with ease from the top of my head, from every part of my body, wherever I feel like I'm holding that energy. It gets pulled down all the way to the center of the planet. And again, that energy, when it hits the center of the planet, gets recycled. So check your grounding cord. Is it attached at both ends? And one other thing you can do is imagine that you can now expand that grounding cord out to hips width. And the reason why I say this is, if you can imagine that your grounding cord expands to hips width, so it's as wide at your hips as it is in the middle of the grounding cord into the center of the planet, you have a nice wide tube that can pull even more energy out of your body. But if that's too difficult, like you can't imagine being able to expand it and have it still stay in place, then just keep it attached as it is, but still make sure that it's got some width to it. If it's the size of a drinking straw, it's going to be very hard to release a lot of energy. So widen it out as wide as you feel comfortable, where you still feel like it stays in place. And then everywhere you go, that grounding cord's going to move with you. You're walking in it, you're running in it, you are driving your car, it stays with you until you choose to release it. Okay, before you start the process of releasing energy, I want you to ask yourself, between 0 and 100 in a percentage, what percentage is your grounding cord working for you in present time, right now? How effective is that grounding cord? And so get your percentage. Just go with the first number that comes up. It's usually the most accurate one. And if it's low, then you're like, wow, I really need this healing. And if it's a high number that it's working effectively, then well done. So remember that number, because we'll check at the end to see if it has gone up. So let's go ahead and release a few energies. So again, all you have to do is tune into your body, or just have the intention that when I call out an energy, or going forward, when you're doing this on your own, you're going through something, you focus maybe where you're holding that energy, what it feels like, and just have the thought that as you call it out or acknowledge it, I see you, I feel you, and I'm releasing you. It is absolutely able to go down your grounding cord without effort. So the first energy that I want you to take a look at is unconscious energy in your space. There is so much unconscious energy flying around the planet. You might feel it, you might see it. To me, it always looks like a whitish gray color. And when I want to release that, I might even see inside my body like an internal shower, or in my aura, a shower of, like if you were standing in a shower and the water's running around you. Well, this is what you're releasing out inside. It goes down the grounding cord, or you could see it as grains of sand in your space, releasing from the top of your head, out, down your arms, down your legs, down your grounding cord. So go ahead and start to release the energy of unconsciousness or unconscious energy in your space. And here's where it's really important, and we'll look at this when we look at the grounding cord. Are you just choosing to release it and then you're just thinking, okay, it's going down the grounding cord, or you're kind of making sure it goes all the way down? Sometimes I'll just, from where I'm sitting, focus on the center of the planet where my grounding cord is anchored, and I'll kind of sense that vacuum energy, making sure that the energy I'm releasing is getting pulled all the way down into the center of the planet. Because a backed up grounding cord is like a backed up drain. You know, it gets more clogged, and then the energies really don't have any way to release. Tune into your body, your energy field. Are you holding on to any anxiety? So sense where or the type of anxiety you're holding on to, or what it's about, and decide if you would like to release it and let it go out of your body and down the grounding cord. And release any stress you're holding on to. So again, from the top of your head, you could see it as grains of sand flowing out of from the top of your head, down your body, down the grounding cord. See it releasing as drops of water. And if you don't see it releasing or sense it, it's okay. It's enough to have the intention it's releasing, and it will. Okay, well done. Normally in a regular Wednesday meditation, we go right into replenishing, but because we are working on the grounding cord, we're going to go right into healing the grounding cord. For those of you who know how to use the tool of a reading screen or your viewing screen, go ahead and create that right now. Give it a nice cleaning and clearing using a sticky gold rose to clear off all the sides of this screen. Use as many sticky gold roses. You know, a sticky gold rose is like kind of like a lint roller, running it all over each side of that screen, exploding it. Use as many as you need. If you're new to the meditation, how you are going to create a reading screen is imagine that out in front of your head, about a foot, you can create your very own viewing or movie screen. It's about a foot in front of your head. It's about a foot wide, a foot tall. And this is how a clairvoyant will look at energy clairvoyantly. You need a screen to view the information. So you create your very own private movie screen with a border. It's best if the screen is white so that it's easier to see whatever imagery you want to heal on that screen. So imagine you can create your very own screen out in front of you. And to the base of that screen, you're going to create a grounding cord. So your screen gets its own grounding cord. So it could be like, again, a hollow tube that just plugs into the base of the screen, travels down through the center of the planet and plugs into the crystalline core. Oftentimes when we want to look at energy and the energy doesn't want to be cleared, the screen can literally start moving around. So you want that screen anchored. Plus, you're able to release some energies off of the screen as well by by having it anchored with a grounding cord. Now, in order to view the energy you want to look at, we're going to create the imagery on the screen. Know that whatever imagery you're working or symbol you're working on the screen out in front of you translates to releasing energy off of your own body or whatever space you're working. So it's a direct translation. All right. For some of you, this may be easy or may be difficult. I'll walk you through a couple of steps if it's hard for you to create the imagery. For those of you who have been in this meditation a lot, we use the symbol of a rose or a clear bubble. Tonight, you're actually going to create the imagery of your grounding cord on your screen. So your grounding cord clearly is very long, but it's just an image. So imagine you could take the image and it's kind of shrunken a little bit. It's shorter. So on your screen, create the image of your grounding cord. You could also create it, because it's just going to hold the energy. You could create it as a clear grounding cord, just so you can see foreign energy more clearly. But however you choose to create it is fine. So place that image on your screen. And right when you create it on your screen, what does it look like? What shape is it in? Does it look flimsy and thin? Does it look thick and beefy? Is it really dark, like there's a lot of foreign energy or in the way of textures or colors? As you know, when you are looking for foreign energy, it usually shows up as a dark texture or a color. It could be a blob, it could be a dot. It could be anything that you look at in that symbol where you think, I know that doesn't belong. That just doesn't look right. So whatever you see right now, you can start to say hello to it. And this may sound a little funny, but in order to release the energies off your grounding cord, you're going to have to add a grounding cord to the symbol of your grounding cord. So you can make it a little different texture or color so you can see the difference between the two. So attach a grounding cord to the image of your grounding cord on the screen. Plug that grounding cord into the center of the planet. So now as you look at that energy or that foreign energy in your grounding cord, what does it look like? Can you intuit what some of that is? So to begin, just say hello to any foreign energy in that space. And it's enough to say hello, I acknowledge you, I see you, and allow it to start to release down the grounding cord into the center of the planet. Now, for those of you who are having a hard time creating that imagery, sometimes there's so much foreign energy or a person who doesn't want to get kicked out of your grounding cord that they can literally make it difficult for you to view your grounding cord. Because if you view it and you clear it, they're going to be kicked out, which is the goal here, right? We want seniority in our space. We want seniority in our grounding cord. So if you're having a hard time keeping that on your screen or creating it, I want you to imagine that you could put even like a little stick of dynamite in there and blow it up. And then I want you to create just the image of the grounding cord again, that little snippet of your grounding cord, and create and destroy it as many times as you need to in order to get it to stay. So maybe you need to create the grounding cord 4 or 5 times and then continue to blow it up. So I'll give you a moment for those of you who are having a hard time viewing your grounding cord to create and destroy that image a few times. And for the rest of you, just continue to release energies and textures and colors out of the grounding cord you're working on. So for those of you who had to clear your grounding cord, go ahead and make a new one in present time. And it's probably going to be easier to create that and have it stay on your screen. So once you create that imagery, go ahead and give it a grounding cord into the planet. And then again, acknowledge any foreign energy or color or texture that you're choosing to release. And remember, if you're having a hard time releasing an energy, it could be that you're in resistance to releasing it. So for an example, look in that grounding cord. Do you see any people? People love to ground through other people because most people don't know how to ground for themselves. So you could literally be walking down the sidewalk or in a grocery store and somebody can jump into your grounding cord and start grounding through you. It's like, hey, that person's grounded. I don't have that information. Look, it's just energy, everybody's spirit, right? So that's why it's so vitally important to keep it clear. And if you live with somebody, or whether you do live with somebody or not, but if you live with somebody, a lot of times they'll ground through you, your partners. You could have family members grounding through you, coworkers, bosses. So looking at your grounding cord, do you see people in your grounding cord? Do you see foreign energy in your grounding cord that you can't release? You may have an agreement to allow them to stay there. So just postulate that you are updating any agreement with anybody who's in your grounding cord. It's just have that thought. You can, if you know who it is, you can even say it silently inside yourself or aloud if you're alone. I release you. I no longer give you permission to ground through me, and let their energy flow out of your grounding cord in a texture, color, or as that person down the grounding cord into the center of the planet. And it does not hurt this person. It just moves them out. And no, you may move them out once, but that doesn't mean they're going to stay out. This is where you have to stay on your grounding cord. Well, when I say stay on it, I mean stay on clearing it. And if you see somebody continually grounding through you, you might just want to, as a soul, say hello to them, like, I see you. Because sometimes they'll not only ground through us, but they're literally looking for a hello from us. So if you have a reoccurring person that is continually jumping in your space, you might just, as a soul or intuitively, just say, hello, I see you. And then again, you cannot ground through me. And you just kind of make sure that you're moving them out of your space, out of your aura, or out of the grounding cord. Now I want you to look at that grounding cord for any cords plugged in. That's one way people will kind of tap into our grounding, is they'll literally throw a cord. Cords to me, well, they look like cords, but they're kind of translucent. So you really don't want anybody plugging into your grounding cord, because if they do, then it's like carrying around an extra 1,000 pounds of weight. It's like you're dragging all these beings and all their energy along with you throughout your day. It's amazing when you have these people out of your grounding cord, out of your space, how much lighter you can feel, how much more energy you have. So if you see a cord, imagine with your intuitive hand or psychic hand, you can just literally pull the cord out and let it retract to whomever it belongs to. You could even go another step further. Wherever you pull the cord out, you could just plug it with a little bit of gold energy or a little gold ball of energy to just plug the space where they were plugged in. So I'm going to give you a moment to clear any cords. You know, if you're looking at this for the first time, you might be shocked by how many people are grounding through you. This is quite revealing. All right, I want you to do one more thing. I want you to imagine that you can tip that grounding cord forward. So you're tipping it, if it's straight up and down, vertical, tip it a little bit towards you so you can look in that grounding cord, in that tube. Does it look clear, or does it look like the interior is still full of foreign energy? Any energy is foreign energy, really. It's energy you've tried to move out that maybe hasn't cleared, again, like that backed up drain. So another way to clear the energy that might be stuck in the grounding cord is, imagine that you had a kind of a large symbol of a sticky gold rose. Again, the stickiness is stickiness on the leaves, the petals. And imagine that you can send that sticky gold rose down through the top of that grounding cord, and as it descends through the grounding cord and through the grounding cord that's attached to it, it collects up any residual energy. I kind of make it like a tight fit, like almost like a plunger, but instead it's a sticky gold rose that as it descends through the grounding cord, it's literally collecting up all the debris that's on the walls of the grounding cord, any residual people, and it pulls that energy all the way down to the center of the planet. And once it hits the center of the planet, all that energy is recycled. And once you do that, you can tip it forward again and look inside. Does it look cleaner? All right. I would imagine by now your grounding cord is flowing much better. You can always have the awareness that there might be other foreign energies that you can look at another time, but we covered the main ones to look at, which is just literally textures or colors. You can always ask your grounding cord, what is this texture or color? So you can always talk to a symbol to get answers. And I encourage you to do that, and you'll intuit what it is. And if that's a new concept for you, then just keep practicing and it'll get easier. All right, in order to clear that energy off your screen, you imagine that you can take that image of your grounding cord and you just kind of compress it. Put that image in a gold bubble, and then just pop the gold bubble to disperse the energy. And now focus in on your current grounding cord, and I want you to unhook it and allow it to release into the center of the planet. Let it collapse into the center of the planet where that gets recycled as well. And now create a new grounding cord in present time, adhering it to the base of your spine where that root chakra is. Have it travel through to the center of the planet, plug in. Expand it out if you choose to hips width. and then pluck it like a guitar string, making sure it's tight. And if it's not tight, then you might need to refasten it at the top or the bottom. Make sure that that gravitational pull is working by about 35–40%. So that's always just kind of there. So as you walk through your day and you bump up against an energy, or you're starting to feel something, you're like, oh, I'm feeling like some insecurity or some anxiety or invalidation. Wow, I'm not sure where that came from. Or maybe you do know where it came from, but you have your grounding cord. So you're like, oh, okay, this doesn't feel good. I don't want to hold on to it. Take a breath, tune into where it is, allow it to release out of your body and down the grounding cord. So now ask yourself again, with this new grounding cord, how effectively is my grounding cord working for me in present time? And get your number. And it should be much higher. So you don't have to do this process all the time, but if you feel like your grounding cord isn't working, then you need to give it a good cleaning. And one way to know if it's working for you is just ask for that percentage. Is it working for me? Am I making sure, what percentage am I making sure that the energies I'm releasing actually go all the way to the center of the planet? So you can break it down a little bit. Oh, what percentage are other people taking up my grounding cord? So if you want to have 100% ownership and you ask that question, what percentage are people grounding through me? You might get, you only have 50% ability to use your own grounding cord. It means, 50% is foreign energy. So you ask questions, ask for percentages. It's really helpful. Okay, after you ground, you need to replenish, as you all know, so that you will not be out of balance. And this is the other side of bringing your energy back into present time: grounding, releasing, replenishing. So above your head, create the image of a large, warm, golden sun sitting a few inches above your head. And you're going to start collecting up your energy from wherever you left it. So we leave energy wherever we've been. Sometimes we leave it out in the astral when we are asleep at night. A lot of times, most of us have energy projected out in the future in the form of worry or in projects. So you really want all your energy back in your body in present time so that you can create with that energy. You can't create with energy that you don't have access to in your body because it's out in places and spaces. So in that golden sun, postulate that you can call back your energy from wherever you've left it, 360, past, present, and future. You can see it as energy coming back as a texture or a color, or just postulate that it's flowing back into that sun. So that can be out of electronic communication, people, places that you've been. I see mine as a color, like a vapor, and I just watch it come into the sun. And then you bring that sun in through the top of your head. So you just imagine that sun can flow in through the top of your head and allow all that gold energy to flow all the way into the tips of your toes, up your legs, saturating all your cells and organs. So up your torso, branches off, goes down your arms to your fingertips, and then up through the top of your head. And next month, we're going to go through the tool of a golden sun to make sure that's working for you effectively as well, because that is such a huge way to create energy, and it's one of my favorite tools. All right, go ahead and create one more golden sun, because in the second golden sun, you're going to get to put some postulates of what you would like for, well, you could say for the next few days, week, or the month ahead. So create that image of a warm golden sun a few inches above your head. And when I say you can add energies to it, it's postulates, it's thoughts. You could add, excuse me, the energy of grace and ease, creativity, enthusiasm, growth, whatever it is to you. So fill up that golden sun with a lot of warm, yummy energies that you'd like to vibrate at. Because whatever you put in that sun and that you fill yourself in with, that's the energy you're going to start vibrating at. So make them positive. Okay, when you're ready, bring that sun in through the top of your head. And again, take your time saturating all your cells and organs. Have that energy flow into the tips of your toes. You can even run some of that down your grounding cord so that you're grounded with these beautiful energies from the center of the planet, up your body, saturating all your cells and organs, to your fingertips, to the top of your head. Okay, great job, everyone. When you're ready, take a couple of deep breaths and come out of trance. Thank you for being here tonight, and have a great month ahead.